So we'll get started. And again, just let me know if you have questions as we go through. So today's seminar is about shaping your story and developing these critical skills. So I'm going to talk through this probably about 10, 15 minutes, maybe at the most. And again, if you have questions, feel free to jump in. This illustration here about your story matters. We're really trying to look from career development perspective more in terms of, everybody's got their own story and how they've developed it and how God's wired them. And so we're trying to look at your path through college as exploring your story, kind of figuring out what your major is, look at different career paths, shaping your story where you develop skills and get new experiences, and then sharing your story by telling employers, grad school, other people, like how you are different, how you're unique, what unique skills you have. So for today, we're going to be focusing on the shape your story part of that and how to develop those skills. So first off, what skills are important? And there's an organization called NACE. It's the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And for several years now, they interview employers and survey them to say what's most important. What are you looking for in new employees? And these 8 skills are the most important ones and have been consistently for the last several years now. So it's critical thinking and problem solving, teamwork and collaboration, professionalism and work ethic, oral and written communications, leadership, digital technology, career management, and global and intercultural fluency. Now they also ask them, okay, those are the essential skills, but how important are these different skills? So the top 4, and this has been consistent for the last 3 years, the top 4 have been that critical thinking and problem solving, teamwork, professionalism, and communication. So you can see how consistently they've up in the top 5 or top 4. And employers rate these skills as essential or absolutely essential. So they're very important skills. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what those mean. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but you can refer back to this slide if you want to or take a longer look at it. But critical thinking and problem solving is really about if an employer or professor gives you information, can you interpret that? Can you understand what it's saying? Can you logically think through what do I do with this information? So being able to interpret and analyze data, being able to solve problems. Here's a new situation that hasn't happened. What do I do now? That you can come up with something in response to that. Teamwork and collaboration, you're doing, I'm sure, a lot of this in your coursework with team projects, group projects, but being able to work with a variety of different types of people, being able to negotiate, working within a team structure, and you'll be assigned a lot of teams when you are in the work world also. Managing conflict is another important part of teamwork and collaboration. Professionalism and work ethic, a lot of this is showing up, doing what you're expected to do. If you're not able to finish it, letting people know proactively, managing your time well, just kind of the things that that make you a good worker, basically. And I do the internship evaluations, and we generally, our students tend to get pretty high ratings on professionalism and work ethic, which I think is, speaks well of our students. And then oral and written communications, that you can articulate your thoughts clearly, that you can write well, that you can present well, or just share one-on-one effectively. Things like grammar and spelling come into play here. So taking time and making the most of those opportunities. I want to share this slide. This is also from NACE. And this is why it's so important that we understand what these important skills are and that we develop them. If you look at the blue bars, these are what percentage of graduating seniors, employers, when they've hired them, say, here's how well they're, or how proficient they are at critical thinking and problem solving. And so only in this case, about 56% of the graduating seniors that employers have, they consider being proficient. But when they look at the graduating seniors and have them rate themselves, it's often much higher. So that's a concern, because if you graduate and you think you're really good at problem solving and your employer doesn't think you're very good at it, obviously that's a problem. So we want to look particularly at those areas where there's gaps, where the graduating seniors rate themselves high at a particular skill, but the employers don't rate them as high. So those areas in particular, if we stay looking at those top 4, are that going back to the problem solving, the professionalism and work ethic, and the written and oral communication. So those are skills that we really want to be sure we're working hard at. I'm going to take a quick side view to talk a little bit about internships. Again, that's my main role, is working with internships. And this is a look at, and this is again a survey from NACE, looking at graduating seniors when they went to a career fair, what percentage of them got offered an interview. And so if you look at all the seniors, about a third of them, 33%, were offered an interview from a career fair. But if you then look at the people who had paid internships, 50% of those had been offered an interview, compared to unpaid interns, or what they call never interns, people who've never done an internship. The percentages were much lower, 20 and 23%. So again, those paid internships really can make a difference in you being able to present your skills well and be able to talk to employers. In fact, they asked these the different groups, that people who had paid internships and unpaid internships and never interned, how would they rate themselves in those critical skills? And the never interns rated this most lower in like most of those top skills: the critical thinking, the teamwork, the professionalism, and the leadership. So that's where, again, internships, and particularly paid internships, can really help you develop those skills just throughout the day-to-day working at your job. So just put in my plug for internships whenever I can. We go back to that shape your story segment that we showed in the first slide. Under developing their skills, there's a wide variety besides internships that you can also do this. Just participating in projects, in your school projects, in your big assignments. You probably have semester-long projects. If you're doing research with a professor, if you're in a club and you have a leadership role, or even, maybe you're doing the social media for your department, something like that. Anything where you're developing skills, you're working on projects, you're working in your area of your field of study, is going to help you sharpen those skills. And you're naturally, if you're working in a group, you're going to be doing that teamwork and collaboration skills will be improving. If you volunteer places, if you're just in your day-to-day workplace, if you're just working at a job that's maybe not an internship or not specifically related to your career path, but you're having to collaborate with others. You're having to solve problems when something goes wrong at work. Those are all ways you can develop those skills. Another way is when it's one thing to have those skills. I often find when I talk to students, they have really good skills and backgrounds, but they don't even think about those things when they go to write their resume. So that's why it's key to know that employers are looking for those problem-solving skills. So how can I translate that and put that in my resume, and then also put that over in my LinkedIn profile and in my Handshake profile. So continue to look for relevant work experience. Build your network. We've got a great network of alumni from Northwestern and professionals who want to connect with you. So feel free to reach out on LinkedIn. And again, I would say first, get that resume reviewed, get your LinkedIn profile really looking great, and then seek out mentors and network on LinkedIn. So again, everything can be improved through relevant work experience and internships, but you can also do, you can take online certifications. I just signed up for one last week where it was, generally this class is $130. We're offering it free for 90 days. And a lot of places are looking to get more contacts, and people are making free programs available. So it's a great time to maybe get an extra certification that you've been considering. Just take on that growth mindset that you're always going to try to learn some new skills, or think about where could I develop professionally? Maybe I can find a mentor. Maybe I join a professional group, attend a webinar on a topic that you find of interest in your career field, or maybe I don't feel comfortable with my presentation skills, but maybe Toastmasters is offering something, or they have a seminar, or I could just read some articles about that. So if you know that, boy, I don't feel very comfortable in this skill set that I know is important, find a way to build that skill, and we are certainly happy to help with that. And then you want to showcase those skills when you go to your resume and your LinkedIn and Handshake profiles. So I just made a few examples. So things, if I want to show that I've got problem-solving skills, if I say, adapted to some situation, responded to customer needs, developed solutions for whatever problems, might have occurred. under teamwork and collaboration, if you say that I worked with my project team in order to make this presentation, I partnered with, you know, these two other people to solve a situation. If you just talk about working diligently, if you were employee of the month, I mean, those are things that you want to include. Um, if anytime you do a public communication on behalf of your employer, maybe you're running their Instagram page, um, maybe you've presented to a group, maybe if you were an honor scholar, you did the symposium, or you did research papers and you had to write something and then you had to communicate or present it. Those types of things, you know, make that a bullet point in your resume. And then on LinkedIn, you can ask your coworkers, your faculty, anybody else, classmates, for skills endorsements. So if I worked on this group and I was the main presenter, would you endorse me for communication skills on LinkedIn? And there's a place down at the bottom of your profile where it says, you know, skills and endorsements, and you can ask somebody to write you a recommendation, or you can just have somebody click like, yep, I would endorse them for communication. So that's a great way to, again, share people, put that out there that I've got this skill set. And then we can help. We have appointments with career coaches. You can make that through Handshake. We post every week in Instagram paid internship opportunities. That internship spotlight up here on the top right shows up every Friday, and we usually profile different types of majors groups. We're working on career communities. We also have a LinkedIn group that everybody who's a member of Northwestern can join. It's called the University of Northwestern Alumni and Student Group. So if you're not already in that, I'd encourage you to join that. We send out the From Here to Career newsletter every week through Handshake, so read that. We also share internship opportunities there. So anyway, I'm just going to close with, feel free to connect with us. We've got services available on the Rock. You can make appointments. You can make Zoom appointments with me, with Jacob Cochran, with April Stensgaard. So I'd encourage you to do that if you're not sure about some of these things. Follow the job postings at Handshake, again, that alumni group and LinkedIn. And we'll be open all summer for help. And that's the end of my presentation.